back to my writing mode. So I felt terrible. But the image of that woman's face stayed with me, as faces do stay with me. One of the things I do with my writing, I pay attention to faces, and I make up stories about these faces. That woman's face stayed with me, until I got back home, and I was sitting down at my desk. I thought, you know, I have to exorcise this woman from my mind. She's too much in my mind. And I started to play Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry. And I have to tell you, sometimes it doesn't happen, but sometimes it does. The Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry just caused, I think, all the words for this very short story about this woman to come out. And I wrote the story. I didn't change a single word. I sent it out, and it was published in Caliban. And I'm going to read it to you, but in order for me to really read it to you, I need help from you. So I want you all to swallow a little bit so your throat is clear, as I will take a little water and swallow. Inhale, everybody. Take a deep breath. And I want you now to sing with me the first two lines, just repeat it, of Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry. I know you young people know this, right? Yes, you do. No woman, no cry. Come on. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. The girl from Bahia. Yesterday, the girl who came up out of the water was called Susanna. Psst, 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 psst. Susanna, soft and young, lovely and tender, in that time when she was called by young boys, hard bamboo shoots, straight with the timber of desire, limers by the corners of streets with no exits, calling her out of her name. Ah, calling her when she had walked, arms akimbo, sapphires in her toes, in that other time, before she had seen that girl from Ipanema. Oh, that girl from Ipanema, and fallen in love. Men had seen in Susanna their hour of redemption. Oh, Susanna, oh, Susanna, oh, Susanna, they would say. Susanna, wait for me. Susanna had waited for no man in that time when she was strong and slender, dark and lovely, before she had slipped into the waters of Bahia, to cross the green sea, to see sun worshippers in leather thongs on the beaches of Copacabana, to search and search for the girl she had seen on the marquee with the dog at her golden heels, sipping Bacardi through ruby rose lips. Susanna had told no one that she has come to find that girl from Ipanema, the girl in every karaoke's dream. Oh, that girl, so soft and tender, young and lovely, that girl from Ipanema. This is her pilgrimage, as Muslims go to Mecca, Jews to the Western Wall, and Japanese to Mona Lisa in the Louvre. She has come to Corcovado, walking in the steps of enchantment. Not once has she asked, what will I really find here? Who asks why there are no houseflies in the Sahel? Today, the girl who stands outside the cafe, across from the Cathedral of St. Jude for Lost Causes, watches soiled waiters flick flies from empty tables, and begs with her eyes in a language only the poor can speak. No one answers. Dry bones, no marrow for the worms that will crawl over her wafer-thin bones. She has walked among oiled bodies on the cream sands of Ipanema, searching for that girl. But no one has said, "Ah, lady, have you seen her? Mister, have you seen her?" Tomorrow, the girl who stands in the shadows on an inside street in Rio has touched that cross on Sugarloaf Mountain, but found no fish, no 11 loaves of bread. She waits and waits for that time when some old man soft will call her out of her name, Susanna, and she'll have to suck what juice is left in his dried up cane. On the cliffs beneath Rio's Hilton, she has built herself a plastic cave. She heats salt water. She rakes and rakes and rakes the sand in search of a bread, a coin, a fallen star. Do you see her? Lady, lady, do you see her? Mister, do you see her? Thank you, and thank you for singing. I like the audience to sing those first two bars because I always think that, because I believe in these kind of strange things, you know, that the wind carries words, yes? And I think the wind will carry words to her, and wherever that young woman is, that young woman who came from Bahia, who believed that she would have such a wonderful life in Rio. And it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. She was so disappointed, and of course she had to become what my mother would gently call a lady of the night, yes? And I'd like to think that when I tell this story about her, that the wind has carried just some nice little moment to her in her life, and, you know, she smiles. Or on that day, something good happens to her. Okay, how are we all doing? Especially the people who've been forced to come. The people whose professors told them, you have today off, you go to those readings, and you come back and you write a report. Right? Because I do the same thing with my students. Juno Diaz was visiting us last week, and I had my students go, and they had to write in their journals, and they've left their journals now at my door, so that when I get back to Davidson College, I'll have to read those journals, and I want to see what they said about Juno Diaz. Okay, I'm going to read you, because there's some older people like me in the audience, I'm going to read you another story. Maybe not. Maybe I'll read you, since this is about hard times, I'm going to read you another short story, and I'll tell you a story that has to do with it, how it came about. It's called Homeless in Oahu. And in this fine city of Norfolk, I know you don't have any homeless people. I just know you don't. No. There are too many kind and generous and wonderful people in this city. You can't possibly have homeless people. When I went back to Trinidad the first time and told my family there that there were homeless people in America, they never believed it. To this day, I don't think those who never came to America believes it. Because they can't imagine that a country as rich as this one, as a country as fertile as this one, as a country that gives billions of dollars to all kinds of other countries, how is it possible that we have homeless people in America? It's fantastic to even think that, yes? Yes. Well, this is a story about a homeless woman. I didn't know she was homeless when I first met her. I was invited to the University of Hawaii at Manoa in Honolulu to do a reading, and I was telling Sherry this morning that I was there with Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou got the big bucks and we got the hard work, the other writers. One of the nice things that happened, though, is that I was asked to stay on that summer and teach a course in African American literature. But on the day, and so I managed to stay on the whole summer, and who doesn't want to spend a summer in Hawaii, you know? It was gorgeous. But on the day I was doing my reading, the audience, the auditorium was this sort of slanting auditorium. So those of you in the back would have been higher, right? So I'm down here, and I started reading. And so all of a sudden there was a huge noise at the entrance to the auditorium. So of course I had to stop, and a guard ran up, and there was a woman trying to come into the auditorium. And she was pushing a big grocery cart, one of those big metal grocery carts. I could see from where I stood that the cart was full of stuff. So the guard took the cart away from her, and she came on down. And, you know, a few minutes ago when Sherry and Janet were trying to get you all to come up front, and people wouldn't want to come up front, there's always seats up front. And so there was an empty seat up front. And so this woman came right down the aisle and sat down right in front of me there. And as I watched her, she came in, and it's July in Honolulu, and it's hot. And this woman is covered from head to toe. She has on this very interesting fedora, and she's matched up. Everything is cream colored. She even has cream colored shells around her neck. She has several layers of clothing on, everything cream, and she has these lovely cream colored boots. I thought she looked fascinating, but she looked a bit big because she had lots of clothes on. She came and she sat down there, and she had newspapers, and she would fiddle with the newspapers. So I had to actually increase my usually big voice and to speak over the crickling that she was making. But I was fascinated by this woman. When I finished reading, before the last words, I could utter the last word, she got up and she raced up out of the auditorium and I guess took her cart and left. I was intrigued by that woman. I thought, who is this woman with this cart at an auditorium in a very formal place, you know? What is she doing in all these layers of clothing July in Honolulu? That woman bothered me so much. Everywhere I went in Hawaii that summer, I thought I saw that lady. One day I was at the beach at Waimanalo. When I looked up, I thought she was in front of me. I looked up again and she was gone. There's a canyon in Honolulu. I was going through the canyon. I almost crashed my friend's car because I saw this woman standing in front of my car. I swerved it, almost hit the side. She wasn't there. I knew what was happening, and a lot of you who are writers, you know what's happening. This woman's image is haunting you so much, you've got to write something about her. So I wrote something about her, and I want to tell you something. Something happened afterwards that to this day I think is one of the eeriest things that has ever happened to me as a writer. So I wrote this very short story about her, and it's called Homeless in Oahu. I'll read it to you, and then I'll tell you what happened afterwards.